So welcome everyone to our Resource YYC Lunch and Learn. So that you're aware, Resource YYC is a co-working community geared to professionals. We offer our lunch and learn sessions as a means for our community to network and provide meaningful learning opportunities. We also provide private office spaces, dedicated desks, day drop-ins, and virtual office options. If you're not yet a member with us, we encourage you to check out our website and follow us on social media. Links will be posted in the chat. Today we have Ed Britton, who Ed's own not retirement to ambition is being an adventure, achievement, and contributions to those 45 plus. And so that's what he's going to be speaking about a little bit. Over to you, Ed.
Okay, thank you so much, Rosemary. And a special thanks to Rosemary, actually, and Resource YYC for this opportunity for all of us, and also for the services that they provide to entrepreneurs and small businesses in the Calgary area, making essential resources available and accessible. So yeah, thank you again. And also thank you to all of you friends who have joined, some longtime friends, actually. It's wonderful to see you. I see that there are people here from all stages of my life. Murray Medj will be able to tell you whether or not I'm honest about my stories when I was a little guy, because he and I were best of friends, so good. And then Sue Johnson, a little more current, so I'll have to tell the truth about the later part of my life. So if you notice that the stories sort of in the middle part of my life are the most interesting, that's a clue why. Okay, so thank you so much for joining. Yeah, I grew up on Vancouver Island, and I was just a few seconds away from the forest there, and my playground was the bush. Grew up there, and you can see from my backdrop here that I have not left that behind. And one of my not retirement passion pursuits continues to be out in the wilderness. Yeah, absolutely. I've been big on, I'll just tell you a little bit about myself so you kind of relate maybe a bit better. But I've always been big on adventure. I have to constantly apologize to my wife of 40 plus years for some of the adventures that maybe she would have rather not participated in. But yeah, I've lived in Africa and I've lived in China for years on end. I've been a biologist and a college instructor, creating courses and so on. More lately, I've been involved in career development as a career coach, doing that, and all through it, all been hiking, and I never, all of you read about this success literature stuff, and they say you have to focus, you have to sacrifice other things, get them out of the way, and just focus on. Yeah, not me. I have a different way of doing things. And I have a lot of interests and like to just enjoy pursuing a lot of different things. So yeah, we have a small group here, which gives us a wonderful opportunity to have a conversation. And so feel free to raise your hand, either just like this, or just click on participants down and you can actually raise your hand virtually. And if you want to say something, if you've got questions and comments, and we can have more of a dialogue. That's kind of what I like. And so yeah, let's do that. Wonderful to see you here. So I'm here to talk about not retirement. And as Rosemary pointed out, the pillars of not retirement is this adventure and achievement and contribution in mid and later life. And so it's like achieving what we have dreamed of all of our life, but we've been too busy raising a family and working and paying the bills to see it happen. Now we have a little opportunity here. I'm hoping that we can do a paradigm reset so that what we do after we leave our workaday life is something perhaps different than what our parents did. I hope that not retirement is a movement. We have this kind of perfect storm of better health and fitness, increased longevity, and a demographic reality. You know, the baby boomers, this really big bubble of demographics that have just moved through all the generations. And now we're at the point where we can have some fun, right? Yeah. And not just fun, but we can also achieve things, and we can also contribute rather than just fading into the background. And parents on my both sides, my own parents and my in-laws, have done it differently. So one group kind of did the traditional thing. They disengaged from almost everything. Whereas the other side just did more and more and more all the time. And they believed, as I do, that the best is yet to come. So I had these two models. And I looked at that and I thought, my goodness, you know, I still climb mountains. I'm absolutely not ready to disengage. And I'm not ready either to just follow my own entertainment, as if I was back in my teenage years again, you know, my self-absorbed teenage adolescence coming back. No, I want to continue to be relevant, not just have fun, tend the roses sort of thing. So, yeah, I don't know. Is anybody with me on this? Anybody feeling the same way? Yeah. Not wanting to do that. Anyway, let me share some slides here. Okay. Okay, I think we kind of recognize this guy, right? George Burns. I remember George Burns from the Ed Sullivan Show. There, we're all from the same generation, hey? So yeah, you know, George Burns worked in entertainment till past his 100th birthday. And he loved every minute of it. And I think the rest of us did too. When people reach the kind of traditional retirement age, they have another 30 years of health and vitality left. Just like George Burns, who was a real not retirement pioneer. You know, it wasn't a time to just relax for him. It was still a time to make a difference. And that's what he did. So George Burns is a guy who I want to be like. I want to follow what he did. I'm not as funny as he is, but you know, but I got other things to do. So how does later life look? And maybe you could type into the chat if you like, but I mean, we're a small group. You could just put up your hand and talk, and Rosemary will keep us organized here. But yeah, what have you seen in your families, your parents? What did they do? Did they keep working? Did they live independently? Did they have kind of an engagement in society? What did that, from that previous generation, your parents, what did that look like? Just type it in the chat if you like, or speak up.
It's probably easier for me to speak up than to type. I had a mother who went back to work at 50 and worked until she was well into her 70s, which was really unusual in that generation.
Oh,
Yeah, and everybody around had either done the disengage, or just played golf and fished and things like that, and it wasn't a good role model for us. I don't think my mom stayed. I would say she was younger in her 70s than she was in her 50s,
wow.
and so keeping working kept her going, but I'm not sure it was it was the choice she made because those were her options.
Sure.
I don't think she had as much, many opportunities as we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're spoiled. We're spoiled with opportunity in a lot of ways in
Yeah.
all of our lives.
And it's interesting. She was on her own right until the day she died. And the day she died, she had gone to a choir practice that morning.
Wow.
So
Isn't that amazing?
yeah. So she.
That's amazing. Yeah. Anybody else?
Um, yeah, well, you knew my parents, Ed, and my mother passed away when, long before, she could really retire or do anything fun. And my dad went back after he retired from the Air Force. He went back and actually became an electrician and worked for another 10, 15, 20 years. And then he retired and enjoyed his retirement, but
Yeah.
health was still, that was a different generation. I mean, I spent 30 years teaching high school, and I have numerous of students of mine who are able to work off of the internet and travel. I mean, they're all over the country, enjoying doing things that they're passionate about. And you get to our age, and I love doing the adventure, and I'm big into it, but at the same time, my body doesn't always respond the way that I would like it to.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Great. Okay. Well, thank you so much for your contributions. Yeah. I know about the body thing. I can still do what I always did, but I pay for it more afterwards for a longer period of time. And I have to stay fit every day. I have to invest an hour, not a couple hours, in order to do it. So yeah, those are some realities that we have to accept. But by the other hand, they do not need to define us. So I'm sure they don't. Thanks for your contributions. I appreciate that. We'll just look at this really quickly. But this slide makes a point. The point that it makes is that what we think of as traditional retirement is not all that traditional. It actually started in the mid 1800s. So that's like, 150 years ago at the most. And that's an exaggeration. Prior to that, people did not retire. At least they didn't move away to Sun City, Arizona, and tend roses that somebody else planted. They continued to engage in their families and in their communities as much as they could. That's what they did pre, say, 1850. And so what we think is as retirement, where you disengage from society, only happened beginning in the 1850s. I won't take time to go through all the history here. It has been a quasi-successful experiment. And I'll show you why that is in the next little bit here. But we are actually now talking about not retirement. We're actually going back to the future. It isn't something new. The benefit that we have now, however, is that we live longer, more healthy and fit than they did back in the year 1820. And that's a wonderful thing to see, opportunity that we have. Okay. So yeah, the not retirement revolution, and I really hope it will be exactly that. Some quotes from people who are smarter than me here, yeah, the life stage we call retirement is dying at all levels, individual, organizations, and societal. This so-called traditional retirement harms at all those different levels. And yeah, Johnny Nelson, I know that someday I will die, but I will never retire, Margaret Mead. And wonderful if those could be our pioneers, the people who we follow. Let me tell you, let me ask you these ways. If you, whether or not you feel like a not retirement rebel, whether you feel part of this movement, or what might be your hesitation. Let's talk about that for a little bit. Anybody?
I think if anybody has a comment, oh, we've got Susan saying, I feel part of the movement, but don't know what my part looks like.
Okay, yeah. I understand that. And because my wife talks to me like this too. And she says, I don't really know what I want to do. I see the opportunity, but I'm not like you, Ed, that has way too many things that you want to do. And that's actually true. I have too many things and I have to sort of thin the garden, weed the plants. But she's not sure what it is. And I hope that perhaps those of us who participate in the not retirement movement can help one another with thoughts and ideas about it, Yeah. Any other perspectives?
I just from my own experience, I've always had too many things like you, Ed.
Yeah.
I've got lots and lots of passions,
Yeah.
and I had to kind of, now that I've hit retirement, I've had to be able to fine tune that because I just don't have the time to spend doing everything I want. So I've kind of narrowed it down, said, okay, yeah, I love to do, gardening is one of them. I love to garden, but I also want to be exploring. I want to go places. And so gardening kind of holds me back a little bit as far as, being in my home.
Yeah.
So, it's just finding the passion and, and picking your priorities. That's one for me, is just have a priority.
Yeah.
And doing it.
Yeah. It's in this engagement in the not retirement movement, as I've been engaged in it, I have had to learn that different people are in different places. Some people have to, I don't know, just seek the focus, and other people have to determine, what it is they would really like to do. We're different, Rosemary?
Yeah, we've got a comment from Ted who says he's not sure. Retirement could be an option, but he would like to continue to work.
Yeah.
And I've actually known people who've retired and then picked up part-time work or something because
Sure.
it's not the same industry, but it's something they enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And
Susan,
that could be a great option,
Mm-hmm.
And
Susan also says,
yeah, go ahead.
I've considered this year a sabbatical. I moved to the coast to retire, but
Yeah, that's right. going back to work is absolutely an option. And it's a good thing if it's your choice rather than a default. You don't want it to be a default. I don't have anything else to do. I might as well go back to work. Not that. But if it's, I've always wanted, to be I don't know, bush pilot. I don't know. If you've always wanted to be a bush pilot, then that's good. That's good. But if you're just going back to the same old routine, it's not what not retirement's all about. Yeah. Diana Nyad, let me tell you about Diana Nyad, because she is a favorite not retirement rebel to me. And Diana Nyad, I could tell this story for all the rest of the time, but I won't. Anyway, she was an amazing swimmer, long distance swimmer, when she was in her teens and her 20s, and broke records, world records, one after the other, women's records and even men's records for swimming further, faster than anybody else. And then when she was 30 years old, she hung up her bathing suit and said, okay, I gotta grow up here. And she just, went to work, sort of thing. But then when she was 50, she thought, man, I'm leaving something undone. And do you know what it was that she was leaving undone? Swimming from Cuba to Florida. If you can imagine that. She tried when she was 28 and didn't make it. I wouldn't have made it out of the bay. But anyway, she got partway across, didn't make it. She said, I got to finish that swim. So when she was 58 years old, she started to train for this swim from Cuba to Florida. That's over 110 miles. And she tried 5 times. Finally made it when she was 64 years old. Almost killed herself doing it a couple of different times. She swam from Cuba to Florida when she was 64 years old. Wow. There she is. And she swam in that wavy current, shark-filled, poisonous jellyfish-filled water. The only person to ever have done it. Swim to Cuba to Florida without a shark cage. Just amazing, And so many others. Takachiri Mori, the world's richest man for, a period of time. He didn't even start investing. He was a poor college university teacher like me. Didn't even start till he was 55 and ended up the richest man in the world. This is Laura Wilder. So she's the author of the Little House on the Prairie series. She published her first book when she was 64. And then Colonel Sanders, his first, what do you call it? Colonel Sanders KFC restaurant when he was, how old was Colonel Sanders? 62 years old, I think. Can you believe that? That's when they started. And this guy, Yuichiro Miura, climbed Mount Everest when he was 70, and when he was 75, and when he was 80. First time when he was 70. Peter Roget's Thesaurus, that guy, 73 years old, published it when he was 73 years old. And then you might know this person, I don't know, Anna Mary Moses or Grandma Moses, who world famous American folk artist, painted her first oil painting when she was 76. And then Gladys Burrell, marathon runner, ran her first marathon, it was in Honolulu Marathon, when she was 86 years old. And she ran her last one when she was 92 years old. These are our not retirement pioneers. Astonishing achievement. In fact, what they did at you know, in later life was bigger than anything they had done before. And so that's where the motto for Not Retirement comes from. The best is yet to come. The best is yet to come. You don't have to get a gold medal in marathon running. I mean, not that. But you have to do your really cool best thing. You know, what is it for you? I'm going to burn through these next slides because they're not happy. Oh yeah, there they are. There they are. Look at that. Look at those ages. Isn't that astonishing? That's when they started. That's when they started. Just amazing. Okay, these ones are not so nice slides, so I'm going to burn through them pretty quickly. But this tells the story of traditional retirement and why we need a revolution away from it. So this mortality comparison study was done in Shell Oil, 2005. And it has such a counterintuitive outcome. So they did this, thousands of people, but they did this study about the effects of retiring at 55 versus 65. And they thought if you retire at 55, of course, you're going to be younger and healthier, less stressed, blah, blah, blah. You're probably going to live longer, right? Than the people who retire later at 65. No, not so. The people who retire at 55 had 37% higher mortality. No, sorry, I got that backwards. The people who retired at 65 had 37% higher mortality than the people who retired. I'm saying it wrong. This chart shows mortality. So you can see it, the retirees at 55 died faster there than the people who retired at 65. The younger retirees died sooner. It was bad for them. And the researchers didn't expect this. Who would? You would expect if you retired earlier, you would live longer because you don't have all the stress, particularly working in an oil company. But they died faster. This is it, the higher mortality than the people who retired later. So that didn't turn out so well. And then some other people studied and found that delaying retirement by 1 year, again, reduced your risk of death by 11%. If you worked longer, you lived longer. Who'd have thunk, hey? Who would have thought that? And others have looked at the non-mortality, non-death effects, poor health outcomes of retiring. So if you retire, then your ability to move, get up in the morning, is reduced by 5 to 16%. You're 5 to 6% more likely to get sick. Your mental health declines 6 to 9%. So traditional retirement, in other words, is bad for you. It's actually not the retirement that does it. It's not stopping work that does it. It's disengaging. It's sitting in front of the telephone or sitting in front of a screen, the television with a six-pack, and slowly deteriorating. It's losing purpose. And hence the adventure, achievement, and contribution pillars of the Not Retirement movement. The first picture on the right, that's Nahanni Ridge, one of my favorite hikes. And of course, hiking is my passion. Kathiani Ama, 96 years old, she got a college diploma in literacy. She lives in India. And Mother Teresa doesn't need any introduction, but her contribution at advanced age, that's what the movement is about, the Not Retirement movement. Okay. And so it's about passion projects, passion pursuits, adventure, achievement, contribution. That's what not retirement is. Okay, yeah. All right. So what about you? What would be your passion pursuit, your passion project? Do you have a lifelong dream? Some people have lifelong dreams. Sometimes it's something that they've come across later. It might be something that they, like Diane and Nyad, a passion from their from earlier years, you know, something they love to do. And it might be around, family. It certainly is for me. You know, my grandkids are a hugely important part of my life, one of my passions. So what are some people's thoughts? I mean, I'd love to hear what other people think too about what they maybe would like to do or possibilities, what they're thinking of. If you'd like to share your thoughts and ideas, no commitment. But what's been in your mind? If anybody wants to come on hikes, just let me know. I always have trouble getting people to come with me.
Feel free to unmute if you want to.
I'll share a bit. It's Susan. I had the kind of life where I kind of did everything that I wanted to do. I thought, oh, that looks interesting. Let's try it, and they let me. And I do notice, Ed, because in that slide you talk about what did you love doing in your childhood and youth, and as I, you know, sort of leave all those, you know, paid work things that I used to do, and they were many and varied, I see myself going back to painting and back to like taking music seriously and back to you know, sewing and crafts and art. And so I'm thinking that there's probably something there. I mean, I live in artsy craftsy Prince Edward Island, and yet I don't really want to work for money. I think there's a rejection of that whole commercial thing that sort of hit me. I think it hit me when the pandemic hit us. You know, it's like, what's life about? Blah, blah, blah. So that's an interesting one. But this yearning to go back to things that were delightful in childhood, I think is the key for me. So
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah. That's very common.
Yeah.
A very common thing to do. It's kind of, you know, in some ways, that's what I'm doing too.
Mm.
Yeah. You know, going back to the hiking in the mountains. And but then this not retirement movement, it's something that I love too. I do that more because it's not so physically taxing. Hiking in the mountains, that's once a week, that's all.
Oh, but it's a psychological ascent.
Yeah, there's a lot of pain involved, Susan. Yeah, that's right. Anybody else? Just some ideas. That's maybe brainstorming. Just throw them out there. What would, I don't know. No commitment. This is another one of mine. You see, this is my garden. It's March in Calgary, so it doesn't look like much. But one day, you know, one day it's going to be a big, beautiful Lincoln Homesteader pea plant. And one of the good things about gardening, and Murray probably relates to this too, is that you can't watch these things grow. You can't see them grow. But by the end of the summer, it's a big, huge plant with lots of fruit on it. And so, you know, when I'm working in this not retirement movement, and day to day, I can't see anything happening. You know, it's like a plant or it's like a child growing. You can't see it, but you just do it day after day. And as before long, you've got something to look at, you know, just like that. It's like climbing a mountain too. One step, are you crazy? I'm never going to get to the top of these little steps I'm taking, but you do. You do. Yeah. So. Okay. Thank you for your contributions. So this is a little theory here. Okay, it's not, I don't think it's boring. Maybe you will, but I like it. So this puts not retirement into a thought image for us. So it provides some definition, okay? And again, here are the passion pursuit types that we've got. There are probably others too, but this is kind of how I see it. Adventure, achievement, and contribution. Yeah, and then there are these 4 different profiles of people who are about to leave their workaday life. I don't call it retirement everywhere. I call it leave your workaday life. The planner is a person who isn't quite there yet. They're still working, but they're thinking of leaving this day job and doing something that's more in line with their passion. The seeker is a person who has recently left the day job and is perhaps into something that looks more like traditional retirement, but they're in a transition phase. They've got a honey-do list to finish, you know, that kind of thing. It's not uncommon for people to take a year and just cool down. And I could talk about that. It's part of the transition model. But anyway, those are the seekers. Over ready. This is somebody who's been retired for a while and doesn't like it. It's not working for them. They need to do something more with their life. They're over ready for not retirement. So those 3 are in a little bit of a timeline. The cut loose group is different. People who are cut loose are people who have who find themselves out of the job or maybe forced retirement before they wanted to. And they're thinking, what am I doing here? But they know that that career that they had before is not something that they're going back to. That's the cut loose group. So we've got these 4 different profiles for the not retirement people. And then the other axis are ambitions that people can have in not retirement. So family is a very common ambition, certainly one that I have. But then you might want to contribute or participate in the community, you know, your local neighborhood kind of town you live in. You're that kind of a person, really social, like to be with people. A cause, this is a bigger thing. So maybe you want to be involved in providing clean water to people in developing countries who don't have it. You know, some big worldwide cause that you want to be in, bigger than your community or outside of your community. Personal development, you want to finish that university degree or you want to learn to speak a language. Income, maybe you need, and a lot of people these days are in this situation where they need to supplement pension with income. And so they kind of need to continue to do that. Or good friend of mine has lots of money of his own, but he wants to earn money to help other people who don't have the money they need to maybe go to university or start a small business. And money just grows on this guy. I don't know, I should spend more time around him, but he'll find a cause. Somebody needs tuition. And so in a month, he can raise the tuition for them. He's just got that talent about him. So this is the basics of the not retirement framework. And it creates this matrix. And then you decide, we've got processes for this, but you decide where you fit. Maybe oil painting is your passion pursuit. It's what you want to do, okay? And then maybe you're in the over ready group. So you just need to find something because you're bored to death, okay? You see painting as an opportunity for achievement. It's personal development ambition, and it will provide you with achievement. But it will also allow you to contribute to the community. So it's a contribution. You're really good at art, just like Susan, you know, and you want to see your paintings hanging in the halls of the community. Okay. And it'll also give you an opportunity to be with your grandchildren, maybe, or your nieces and, grandnieces and nephews, an opportunity to contribute to their appreciation of art and education. And so you have, in pursuing this one project, you have adventure. I see that as going into the mountains and painting pictures of beautiful nature scenes, adventure, contribution, and achievement in your not retirement. So that's the framework. That's kind of the theoretical underpinning for the not retirement movement.
We have a comment from Ted. He says he's definitely in the Cut Loose profile.
Yes.
He also found a website, nextadventavenue.org, and says it's a good resource for older folks.
Great. Next Avenue.
Yep.
.org. Thank you so much.
If anybody wants to check that out, it's in the chat.
Thanks so much for that resource. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so there's something to hang it all on, These things, these models help us to think. They bring clarity and definition to what we're striving to do. And so I hope that might be useful. Okay. Yeah. All right. So my challenge to you, this is your homework. What's your picture? What kind of future do you want? How do you dream about these things? And don't be limiting. The first job is just to look for the opportunity and the options out there. And then once you narrow it down a little bit, and there's lots of ways to do this in the Not Retirement program, but then you get detailed. You really describe what you want it to look like. It's a lot like doing artwork, actually, because Susan will be able to describe this better than I can. But when you start a sketch or a painting, you start with broad strokes. You get a general idea, and then it becomes more and more detailed and precise as you go on. Well, creating your not retirement vision is the same way. You start with the broad strokes first, and then away you go. Yeah, share it with other people, get their ideas, and do a sketch before you do the oil painting. Yeah, do a pilot project first. That's kind of your homework. All right. Yeah. Okay. So good, better, best. That's actually a challenge of what we're trying to do here. There are so many good things to do, and that's one of the struggles that I'm in, and Murray mentioned the same thing. There's so many good things to do, and you can't do them all. Not enough hours in the day. And so you narrow it down. What would be better than everything? And then what are the very few best things that you want to do? And so that's a little bit of a challenge as we do this too. So yeah, thank you for joining me and to discuss not retirement here. I hope you feel in your heart, as I feel in my heart, that the best is yet to come. That's the top of Nahanni Ridge, by the way. That's my son, Isaac, who's a long, lean fellow. And it's impossible for me to keep up with him because he's so long and lean and young. So, yeah, that's a beautiful spot. Okay, there we are. So thanks so much for joining me. Now, you've heard me talk a little bit here and there about the Not Retirement program. My professional background is in program development, actually, course and program development for colleges. And so now I'm doing it for myself developing this not retirement program, which is like a course, but a lot more fun, I hope, than a course. And I'll be finished in a couple of months. I've been at it almost full time for about 6 months here. And it's really exciting. It's the best thing I've ever done. Partly because I'm so passionate about it, and also because we have tools now that are just, I mean, out of this world for developing courses and programs. They're just like space age tools. Forget the typewriter, although I've never done that. But yeah, just really good tools. And so I'm enjoying it, the thrill of what this does. Anyway, I'll be done in a couple of months. I'm looking for people who would like to beta test it with me. In other words, take the program, go through it. It won't cost you any money because I'm going to put you to work in it to say, okay, what's wrong with this? What could be better? How can we make it better? How does it feel to you? And yeah, write me some praise at the end that I can put up on my LinkedIn site. And so anybody here who would like to help beta test it, get it before it's going to cost you money. And then just reply to me. Here, I'll share my screen again. I'll show you how you can get in touch. There we are, all the way down to the bottom. Here we are. So you can connect with me on LinkedIn. Like, there's my LinkedIn address, or just send, this is my personal email here. You're all my friends, so, and I look at this more often anyway. So ed.britton@gmail.com. If you'd like to be part of the beta test and part of the group that creates this not retirement movement, I'd love to help you. Really, some of the people on this call are dear people in my life. I'd love to work with you again. So it'll be a couple of months before it's finished, but then away we go. It'd be great to work with. So any parting comments or thoughts or questions?
And would this be something that would be like an online course?
Yeah, it's online.
With assignments. I mean, is this what you're going for? Or is it more like I don't know, personal development? I guess those could be the same, but
yeah, it's an online course, but with all of these magical bells and whistles that the geniuses create these days, and it's very much a self-directed thing. So you don't have to hand in assignments unless you want to. I mean, you can send it to me if you want, but I'm not going to mark it. I'll tell you that, because that's one part of being a college teacher I hate. If you want to mark it, I'll send you the cheat sheet. You can do it yourself.
no, I didn't like it then, and I don't like it now.
It's telling us there's no rubric.
That's right. You mark your own word.
Yeah.
Yeah, send it to somebody else. Don't send it to me to mark. Yeah, so there are exercises that you have to go through anyway if you want to do something significant. And a not retirement is for people who want to do something significant, not just, I don't know what, something insignificant, watch TV. It's supposed to be the best thing you've ever done. You know, it's a big deal. But it also has to be something that you love to do, that you're passionate about. You know, climbing mountains just about kills me. I have no idea why I do it. I get 3/4 of the way up that mountain. I think, why on earth am I doing this? Because I've never hurt so much before. But then I just go back and I do it again the next week. So that's what not retirement does for us. You know, it puts us into a place where we're achieving like we've never achieved before, and where maybe we wouldn't do it unless there was a little push. But the exhilaration is so dramatic that we just put ourselves right back into it and say, I've never lived like this before. That's what it is. So yeah, this is not like your traditional course. This is like how I engage. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, then. Well, thank you everyone for participating. Ed, that was wonderful. I hope everyone got a little bit of ideas and opportunities that they think they'll pursue now from this. Again, we've posted the links in the chat if you're interested in checking out Resource YYC or just reviewing this video later once it's on YouTube. And I hope everyone will have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. So good to see everybody. Take care.
Yes.
Thanks, Ed. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Hope to hear from you. Bye-bye. And thank you, Rosa. Thanks again.